Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Isa Digital. As always, my name is Manuel Akile, and today I'm going to show you how to make a simple movement system in Unity just using a few lines of code and one C# script. So we're just going to get right into the video until we're just going to wait for Unity to take its sweet time loading up. So let's get right into it. Okay, so after Unity took its sweet time to record, to open, here we are. So first things first, we're going to create a new folder that's going to ask our scripts. Let's just call this script. And then we're going to create our ground floor, which is going to ask for like the plane in which our object is going to move on. So I'm just going to create a new 3D object cube, name this floor. Oh, sorry, that's flute. Let's change it to floor. Add in a new 3D object cube, which is going to be our player. So I'm also just going to take our floor, bring this down like so, and I'm just going to scale it on the y-axis like so, and scale it on the x-axis like so. Also scale it on our y-axis like so. I'm also going to scale it up a bit like so. Let's just zoom out so you can see that. And I'm going to move our player like just close to the end of the cube here. I'm going to also position our camera so we'll be able to see our cube like so. And I'm just going to add in a material for our player so we'll be able to differentiate him from the floor. So let's just add in a material. Let's call the material player mat. Change this to red. Drag it onto the player. And I'm also going to add a rigid body element to our player. So it falls down onto the floor. So rigid body. I'm also going to add in what else? What else? What else? I think we already have our scene set up. So I'm just going to go into our scripts, create a new C# script, which is going to under our movement called movement. Yeah, let's just give the minute for everything to finish compiling. Any second now. Yeah, he's reloading the script assemblies. I'm just going to drag and drop it onto our layer, and I'm going to open it up in my IDE. You can use whatever IDE you want, Sublime Text, Visual Studio. But I personally prefer Visual Studio and VS Code because of its themes and fonts. So I'm just going to open up in VS Code. Uh, I haven't changed the preferences. Still use Visual Studio, but let's just use Visual Studio. But it's going to take a while to load, so I'm just going to cut edit until when it's finished opening. So it's opening via Visual Studio. So first and first, we're going to declare three variables. The first one is going to be public, which is going to be our speed variable, and the remaining two are going to be private variables that are going to help us in handling our players' movement. So let's declare our first variable, public float speed, and I'm going to create a new private float called move x, and we're going to declare a new float called move z. Essentially, what this to do does is that the x does move x handles our horizontal movement, and the move z handles our vertical movement, which is like on the z-axis, which is the forward direction. But let's just see, and in our update function, what we're going to do is we're going to map our each of these floats into our axis, our get axis, which is the input or get axis. So move x equals to input or axis plus horizontal, and move z equals to input the get axis vertical. And essentially what this tool would do is that it will help us in just getting our players movement and translating them into our horizontal axis and vertical axis. So for us to actually change the transform of our player, we're going to use our transform components, which actually already embedded into VS Code. So what I'm going to do is transform dot translate. Essentially changes the position of the player. We're going to do vector 3 dot forward, which essentially moves our object forward, but that forward means the z-axis. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to multiply this by our speed variable, which we already declared up top. I'm also going to multiply it by time dot total time to make it frame independent. the delta time, and I'm also going to multiply this by move z, so it helps us in just making everything work. So if I was to save this right now, go back into Unity, you will see that everything is going to actually work as planned. So let's give Unity a moment to compile all the scripts. And if we were to enter play mode, you would see that everything actually works. But before we do that, let's just see if our camera is positioned properly. Yeah, it's positioned properly. And let's go into play mode. And as you can see, because of the rigid body that I added to the cube, it fell down onto the ground surface. And if I also press W, you can see, oh, we've added actually changed added what's the name, the speed. So if I was to just change this to like 10, or let's just go 20. And if I was to press W, you can see our plane, our object actually moves. But if I was to press A and D, you see A and D, they are not moving. A and D, A and D. But W and S actually work. So we're going to map our horizontal movement right now. So let's go back into VS Code. And we're going to use the same line of code. We're going to use the same line of code, but we're going to change this from vector 3 forward to vector 3 right. I'm going to change this from move Z to move X. So let's just copy. I'm going to paste this right here. And we're going to change this from vector 3 forward to vector 3 right. We're still going to multiply it by our speed variable and time the total time, but we're going to change this from Z to move X. And if I also save this and come back into Unity, let's just give it a seconds to compile the scripts. And we'll also come into play mode over here. But before we come into play mode, let's just change our speed. Let's just map it in the inspector. Let's give it 20. And if I also press play, so let's start with A and D. You can see it works A and D, then W, D, A, and D. You can see everything works as planned, and you can use this script just to make like a driving game or like what's the name, just like a cube game. You can use everything, and that's the tutorial, guys. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use spacebar to implement a jump function in Unity. So if you want to see that tutorial and you want to see more tutorials like this on Unity and programming in general, please like and subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Stay frosty.